Some men have even been audacious enough to say that they'd rather be raped than falsely accused of rape. I know to most that probably sounds crazy, but it's not. I feel like I'm taking a significant risk by saying this, but for me, personally, the line is if a child is conceived and my rapist would carry it to term, and I will give you the best explanation I can give. If I were to be raped, immediately I'd be branded as a joke. If people believe me at all, they would laugh at me. People would use this video as a statement to minimize my suffering and pretty much anything else. My chances of getting any justice at all are zero. There are a lot of reasons for that. But remember, this is if my rapist would either be male or female. And this is all assuming it happens to me outside of prison. I'd get all of the typical feelings of trauma and violation. The feelings of loss of control. Keep in mind, this is an asexual who abhors the thought of engaging in any kind of sexual activity. Afterwards, I need to get myself checked for STDs and HIV, which is a problem in and of itself, while I would be trying my hardest to get the police to take this issue seriously. The people who claim to be rape victim advocates, they would probably be using me as a political pigeon. See? Men get raped too. We need to keep up this fear-mongering that's stopping rape victims from coming forward. Meanwhile, if I was raped by a woman, for the next 9 months, possibly longer, I'd be terrified and wondering of how drastically my life would be changing. She'd be able to use this possible child to extort me into all kinds of scenarios. Remember, I probably wouldn't know if she was or wasn't pregnant until the second term, at least 3 months, and if she put on weight, she could probably keep the lie going on a little bit longer. I'd be saving up for a lawyer to try to get sole custody, while wondering how the hell I'm going to tell a judge that I'm a more responsible parent than a rapist, while at the same time explaining that my job is yelling at SpongeBob for a living. This is why the line for me is drawn at childbirth. After that, either I'd have to pay a rapist for 18 years for what she did to me, or I'd have to pay thousands of dollars to keep my child away from a terrible person, and proving that I could be not just a competent parent, but the best parent in the world to get sole custody, when I'm not even in my 30s yet and I have no idea what to do with my life. My life has barely begun. On the other hand, if I was falsely accused of rape, this channel is probably over, let's start with that. I'd post videos for a while and try to get some money to defend myself, but they'd be disliked to hell and I'd lose subscribers every single day. And of course, I wouldn't be able to get any other job at this time, and this time could be upwards of 3 years. Imagine that. 3 years of unable to get a job. Actually, it could be as long as my false accuser wanted. If they never took it to court, there's no statement of my possible innocence. Everything that I've ever said becomes means to incriminate me further. Of course he keeps saying that he's asexual. He's just using that so we'd believe he'd never do something like this. Of course he's trying to stop the myth that all men are perverts. Of course he's making the video that you're watching right now. Yeah, all of that. It'd probably be declared null and void. Anything that I say in the future will be filtered through the lens of this guy's a sex offender. I have a significant risk of even my closest friends and family members abandoning me. I could lose my home, or my home could be vandalized, as I most certainly would be doxxed. And this event would be an ongoing, continual one. I don't even have to know this person that's doing it to me, by the way. Other people might see an opportunity and jump on the bandwagon and start accusing me. What this does is make their case look stronger while making me look guilty. I.e., they have absolutely nothing to lose. And if it never gets brought to court, people will assume this about me forever. At some point, I'd probably contemplate suicide. And if I told anyone about it, they'd genuinely be encouraging me to do it. It wouldn't be like the idiot trolls that do it now. There would be actual intent of wanting me to do it. If this does get reported to the police, and they wanted to go that far, well, for starters, I don't have enough money to pay bail on something like that. So I'd probably disappear for a while. You know, it might be years as the justice system is backed up like these people keep telling me. In the meantime, while I'm waiting in jail, I'll be firmly and vigilantly aware that the only thing that gets people shanked or raped in jail more than being a rapist is being a child molester. So I might get either of those things happening to me repeatedly before I'm even put on trial. There's also the other option of the justice system offering me a plea deal and trying to scare me into taking one by declaring myself guilty for a lower sentence. Such things might include me being on the sex offender registry for a length of time. When I get on the trial, there are a number of things that I have to worry about. Like the ideal perpetrator, ideal victim thing. Like how even my own appearance can be used against me. How I kind of look like a creeper with the whole unshaven hobo look. How mental illness is being linked to crimes like shootings might be brought up to indict me. How each and every one of my flaws would be put under the microscope. My lawyer would probably be pro bono, which means that he's going to sit there silently while everyone says whatever they want to, and I'm essentially defending myself. But that's okay, because that's what the internet hate mob seems to want. If I get out of it with a not guilty verdict, the internet explodes on how justice wasn't done, how a monster got away with it. And I'd have the option to go after the liar, who has an immense amount of public support, when I look like a fucking monster already. What it comes down to, provided that I am the only victim and a child is not conceived, I'd rather spend the rest of my life being a joke than being a monster.
As a victim of rape, fuck you, John. Here's the thing. I am actually on both ends. I was raped and accused of rape. Well, accused of grooming a minor, but still, for the accused, I was able to present my side. People stopped talking about the situation and the problem was solved. see earlier in my video for what it was. Meanwhile, despite being about 5 years ago when someone took advantage of me, I still have PTSD from that night to this day. And this is something that can never be cured. And I'm not the only person in my server that's been like this. The editor of this video, Dar, will now have a testimony explaining what she went through.
Alright, let's get this over with. Hi there, my name is Daria, or Dar the Star. I am an editor for Rebecca Starlight. I am also the voice of Becky, Rebecca's fictional daughter. Now, I will admit I'm not the best at editing. I'm still relatively new to it and being consistent about it. But that's besides the point. I want to bring up the fact that I myself have dealt with abuse. Especially the kind related to being sexually molested as a child, or a preteen really. Back when I was a kid, when I was growing up, while my family wasn't terrible in the sense that the parents didn't love me, and both me and my older brother were definitely loved. Let's just say that my biological mom wasn't entirely great with her morals when it comes to the right thing. But honestly, that was nothing compared to my stepdad. He was alright overall when I was a kid. But then something happened when I started to become a preteen that changed. Like a weird switch got turned on in his brain. And that it started off pretty small enough, but it led bigger and bigger. First, he started to show me adult content, if you know what I mean. He then started to touch me inappropriately, but I didn't really realize that. But what I did know is that I didn't like it. Unfortunately, due to my lack of understanding of what was going on, when I did try to speak up about it at first, I miscategorized it as tickling. But what else was I supposed to describe it when I didn't know what the word was for what was happening? That is, until in my school, we had a video where it talked about how that kind of stuff happens with people, and one of the grown-ups were like, when something like that happens with inappropriate touching, you should speak up. And that's when I realized what exactly was going on. Some of what was happening in the video was exactly happening to me. So I did. Next thing I know, the police are at my house. Me and Damon are being taken to our grandma's house and staying there for some time. And then we were brought back into my biological mom's home. But apparently this was under the condition that my stepfather was not allowed to come back in. Long story short, she let him back in. And I'm going to hate to admit this. Oh boy. Thanks to that incident and the fact that I was a preteen, I went into certain discovery of myself because I was trying to understand what the appeal was. And I actually, when I was prompted with the possibility of trying those activities out again with my stepfather, out of my sheer curiosity, I let it. And I still feel bad about it even to this day. I don't know if I can say for sure that I did it because my mind was so warped. It was out of the whole curiosity or what. Or if it was the grooming was so severe that it fucked me up that much. It still hurts to this day when I really truly think about it. My biological mom could have done better, but she didn't. She could have kept him away, but she didn't. And I just really wish she had seen the signs. I remember once the infamous Mr. Enter said that it's better to get raped than accuse of rape, or something along those lines in this video. And I did watch the video, by the way. And I will admit, I was a little upset. I was definitely upset over that. Not like fuming out of the head angry, just... yeah. I get where he was coming from. Men being accused of rape is terrible, especially when it happens more often than it should, and almost nobody believes that they're the victim. But it doesn't change the fact that most of the victims are female, and most of the abusers are male. Now, this doesn't make the accusations any more right, but still. Oh boy. I don't know how much of this is gonna stay or be cut out. I'll be honest. I'm just gonna get as much out as I want, and then I'm gonna let Rebecca decide what's staying and what's going. One more thing. While my biological dad and my stepmom are very well-meaning people, They want the best for me. They want me to be happy and healthy. Oh, and they do have my best interest in mind. Let's just say there have been times where their approach at this wasn't always the most ideal. For example, they don't see my online friends as people in the sense that you would categorize someone in the real world. Oh boy, how do I? Oh boy, I don't know. I'm gonna finish for this.
I get it. This thing that John said was from years ago. And maybe he did finally change. But he never apologized about it publicly. And this is what I'm getting at by holding on to grudges from years ago. Why people shouldn't get mad at me for what I did in the past. That they should focus on the present and the future. This is what I'm getting at with John's team and my trolls getting mad at me for mistakes years ago. Despite what the internet has said about me, I do believe that the tide is finally turning in my favor. Last year, Mr. Enter released his most controversial video ever. Even more than anything that he said about past SpongeBob writers, the entirety of Nicorama, and the dangerous COVID video. John released a review on the Disney Pixar movie Turning Red, and he was mad that this film meant for children that takes place a couple of decades in a fictional world that is in the country of Canada, didn't mention 9/11.
This film takes place less than a year after the September 11th terrorist attacks. I bring this up because it radically altered the culture of the time, in ways that make this movie feel exceptionally ignorant of the time. Even though, literally, the only reason I can comprehend that this movie is set explicitly in 2002 is because the director grew up in that exact year. Yes, this film takes place in Canada, not the United States, but all over the Western world. Canada, America, the UK, much of Europe. People were paranoid because 9/11 wasn't the only terror attack that had happened. It was the major theme of the decade. I mean, I can understand not wanting everyone to be so fearful, as that goes against the tone that the movie is trying to establish. But then you have very awkward moments if you actually were there and you do actually remember the time period.
And when John made this shitty review, all he had to do was apologize for what he said and the internet would have forgiven him. What he instead did was double and triple down on his stupid opinion, and this caused him to go trending. And this caused actual people to come up and apologize to me. Where people in the past shit talked to me like October 2021, now in April 2022, they were coming up to me to apologize. This means that I was right in the end. It reminds me of this line from Gwen in Total Drama Island.
Sometimes the universe just gives you a freebie.
And that's how I felt. Ever since that moment, I feel like a burden. People have thought of wanting Enter's channel to be terminated. But honestly, I think the position that he's in right now is perfect. And it's the perfect punishment for the rest of his life. He's going to continue making anime atrocities as a whole because that's all his audience subscribes to. Any new series that he tries won't get enough traction right away and will go away so fast that I will have more fingers on one hand than the number of episodes that he produces for said series. And the animation project will just have him in control of everything and no one else can contribute, and the people that work with him will either quit or just have to wait patiently for their project that will take forever that may or may not even be done. Any political stuff will just be another COVID saga. The only time that John will get a video to the 6 digits of views, as in 100,000 views or more, will have to be finding a controversial person, shit-talking a terrible celebrity's terrible cartoon, or John making an ass out of himself. Considering that everything now is John going corporate, I doubt that John will have to fire anyone. Very few celebrities get animated cartoons, so that's out of the question and only gonna be able to be done once a blue moon. And no, John, you won't get 300k this year. And I highly doubt that after the Turn Red controversy, Sarah's gonna have Enter slip up in some sort of fashion, so John will be smarter now, but get less views in the process. Oh, and SpongeBob's kinda overdone, unless you want to do like that best list like you once said that you wanted to do. And believe it or not, I wasn't waiting for an opportunity like this. I did expect it. I did expect John to fall into some kind of obscurity and him failing after I left. What I didn't expect was it to happen less than a year later, with a Pixar movie of all things. But here we are. I'm not watching any of John's videos in 2023. I don't care. Not past, not present, not the future, not ever again. I just don't get why this is the way life is. I'm not special! I never was! I don't get why all this shit happened to me. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I understand. What did I do wrong? I told a single person to make an animatic in a week. A person that I apologized to and that accepted my apology. I called some people that I thought were my friends jerks, even though I took that video down. Apologized and they accepted my apology. I paid people low money, even though, they were fine with it and they accepted the payment. I trusted people that may have been creeps, even though I have no association with them now. I don't want to attack anyone. I just want closure, to move on. I'm never mentioning any of these people again. But this is the shit I have to deal with, forever. Just ignore the haters, Rebecca. They have doxed me and threatened to kill me in the same breath. That is not an acceptable answer anymore. At this rate, I'm gonna ignore every single troll message on me, as well as troll response videos. Go ahead and make whatever video you want on me. I won't watch it, ever. Call me not being able to accept criticism. I don't care. I'd rather live than accept criticism. I am not the victim. I will never state that. I am not even victim blaming. All that happened was miscommunication and me being an asshole on a couple of occasions. That's it. I should at least be happy that people that shit-talked me in the past now love and defend me. Maybe I just am not happy with the world I am in. Maybe I don't want to live in a world where people lie about a pandemic for their own selfish needs. Maybe I don't want to live in a world where governments don't allow 10-year-olds abortions after being raped by someone 3 times her age. At this rate, I have a hard time trusting humans. Here's how they can gain my trust. By every big YouTuber and social media person repeat time and time again that the internet does not have a minimum wage law and that Google can pay you for your YouTube channel 1 cent per hour and that is 100% acceptable. The fact that no one has ever said this once makes me extremely angry more than anything else. But yes, the internet has no minimum wage law. I guess I have to be the first to state this. I want to ask that question again that I asked at the beginning of this video. What should I do? I've done all that I can. I addressed as much as I could. There's probably stuff that I missed, but I've been doing this for over 2 hours now. This has been the hardest video that I've ever made in my entire life. Even my old response back in November 2021. I somehow was able to handle it better. But that might be because that one was short and rushed. Here I took my time and let it take months to write. Because I didn't want to forget anything and regret it. But I'm probably going to forget to say something for this video in the future. I guess I should probably mention now that I'm not retiring or stopping videos. I still want to make 1,000 videos before ending this channel. But what I am going to say is that it's going to take a lot longer now. It's probably going to take 20 years for me to do everything that I want. Some people say that I should make the videos faster. But I think that's why some people got mad at me for 2020. So I'm not going to make my videos faster ever again. At the beginning of 2022, I wanted to do the first full season of Riot Animation Reviews. All 25 episodes in 1 1 year. Yet here we are in 2023, and I haven't even done half of them. I'm fine the way that I am. I want to state that I move on from this drama forever. Please don't think I'm going to kill myself. I will never do that. And no, it won't stop my narcissism or whatever the fuck Kiwi Farm said. My life at the moment isn't the worst I've ever been in. That still goes to 2010 and 2011, for reasons that I can't go entirely into. Later this year, my YouTube channel turns 10 years old. A full decade. That's a long time. To me, that is. But it's not even a drop in the bucket of life. Life lasts trillions of years. And the worst of this current decade was 2020 and 2021. They were the worst for, well, I think watching this video will give you the correct picture. I'm just tired of it all. I didn't mention everything about me, but I've been at this for over 2 hours, and I don't want to go for 3 hours, and this is 50 pages long. Maybe some other people could talk about their own harassment that they receive over the years on the internet for hours on end, but not me. I want to keep this under 3 hours. I won't be dying alone. I may have a dying YouTube channel, but my friendships are growing. I keep getting new friends, and they become stronger than ever. Personally, I think it's best to have as very few friends as possible, but have all of them be extremely strong and lasting for decades. I'm Rebecca Starlight. Either realize that I'm fine the way that I am and start watching my new videos, or just leave me alone. If you think I'm still an awful person to this day despite me proving my side, or just don't care, get a fucking life.